Hey mama, do you feel like no one truly understands what you're going through right now? Have you tried to explain your postpartum depression to friends or family only to walk away feeling even more alone? And what if a few simple words shared at just the right moment with the right people could help you feel seen, supported, and a little less isolated today? In today's episode, we're talking about the top 5 postpartum support quotes that can help put words to what you're feeling when postpartum depression feels almost impossible to explain. More importantly, I'm going to share exactly where you can post, text, or share these quotes so that you can receive more understanding, encouragement, and support from the people around you. Because sometimes when we're struggling postpartum, the hardest part isn't the sleepless nights or the endless laundry. It's feeling like you're carrying it all by yourself. Do you want practical steps to rein in the overwhelm and start feeling like yourself again, but struggle with feeling hopeless, unsupported, and misunderstood? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Stephanie, wife, mom of 4, and a 2-time acute postpartum depression survivor. I learned the secrets of how to overcome the feeling of drowning and fully thrive as a new mom through life-giving hope and support. If you're ready for validation, encouragement, and those easy practical tips, then take a deep breath in, exhale, and we'll take the first steps together. Here we go. Did you know that I have a free community of mamas just like you? New moms who are struggling to survive, much less thrive, and are looking for hope, encouragement, and validation. We share life together. There's a short weekly devotion, encouraging quotes, and so much more. There's even chances to win free coffee and prizes. Come join us at bit.ly/PPD support group. The PPD is capitalized and we'd love to have you. A few months after my daughter was born, I remember sitting on the couch one afternoon while she slept beside me. And I remember feeling incredibly alone, not necessarily because there was absolutely no one around me, but because I didn't feel like anyone really understood what was happening inside my head. On the outside, things probably looked okay. The baby had been fed, the dishes were done. I had actually managed to shower that day, which, let's be honest, felt like a pretty big accomplishment. But inside, I felt like I was falling apart. And I remember desperately wanting someone to ask me how I was doing. Not that polite, how's the baby? Not the casual, how are you guys adjusting? I wanted someone to look at me and ask, Stephanie, how are you really doing? Because I wasn't okay, and I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to explain what postpartum depression felt like. I didn't know how to explain why I could love my baby so much and still feel so incredibly miserable. I didn't know how to explain why I was scared, why I was crying, why I felt like I had disappeared somewhere along the way. And so many times, instead of telling people what was really going on, I just said I was tired. Honestly, Mama, because that was easier. Everyone understands tired. Everyone understands having a hard time with a newborn. But trying to explain the darkness that was really in my head, that felt impossible. And I remember scrolling through social media one afternoon, never a good idea, and seeing picture after picture of motherhood just displayed before me. Beautiful babies, smiling moms, perfect nurseries. Captions about soaking up every single moment because they grow up too fast. And I remember thinking, am I the only person who isn't feeling this way? Am I the only mom who is struggling this much? Am I the only one who feels like everyone else got the motherhood handbook and mine somehow got lost in the mail? And then I came across a simple quote. It said, "You don't have to enjoy every moment to love your child deeply." And I burst into tears. Not because that quote fixed my postpartum depression, it didn't even come close, but because for a few seconds I just felt understood. Someone had put words to something that I couldn't explain. I could love my baby deeply and still be struggling deeply. Those two things could coexist at the same time, and sometimes that's what we need. We don't necessarily need another person to give us a solution. Sometimes we just need somebody to put to words what we're feeling. And that's what I want to do today. I want to give you 5 quotes that you can save, screenshot, text, post, or send to somebody when you don't have the energy to explain everything yourself. Because maybe one of these quotes will say exactly what you've been trying to say. And maybe it will open a door to a conversation you desperately need to have. So let's jump in. First quote, I may look okay on the outside, but I'm carrying more than you can see. I really love this one because postpartum depression can be so incredibly invisible. Oh, mama, you can look fine, you can shower, you can get dressed, you can take the baby to a doctor's appointment, you can go to church, you can definitely answer somebody's text, and you can smile pretty for that family picture. And all the while, you're fighting a battle that nobody else can see. I think that's one of the things that makes postpartum depression so lonely. People see what you're doing, but they don't necessarily see what it's costing you to do it. You might be functioning, but that doesn't mean you're okay. You might be getting everything done, but that doesn't mean you're not struggling. And sometimes I think we accidentally teach people that we're okay because we're so good at making ourselves look okay. So if that's you, this quote might be a really simple way to let somebody see a little deeper. Maybe put it on your Instagram story. Maybe text it to your husband. Let's see, you can send it to your mom or your best friend. You can put it in a family group chat. And you don't even have to follow it with any giant explanation. You can just send the quote and say, hey, this is kind of where I am right now. And that's it. Because you don't have to tell your entire story in one conversation. Sometimes you just have to give somebody little glimpses into what's really happening. And that brings me to the second quote. I don't need someone to fix me. I need someone to sit with me. Oh, mama, I wish we understood this one better. Because when somebody we love is struggling, our first instinct is often to fix it. Just ask my husband. There are so many days I'm like, honey, I want to talk to you, but I'm going to text my best friend instead because she'll talk with me about it and not try to fix it. We want to make the problem go away. So we say things like, hey, take a nap. You need to get out of the house. Or why don't you go on a date night? Try to think positively. My favorite, just be grateful. And most of the time, people aren't saying these things because they're cruel. They're saying them because they don't know what else to do. They love you, they see you hurting, and they want to make the hurting stop. But postpartum depression isn't always something somebody can talk you out of. Sometimes you don't need another suggestion. You need somebody to sit beside you while it's hard. You need somebody to say, this sounds really hard, I'm here. You don't have to pretend with me. You don't have to figure this out by yourself. And if that's what you need right now, mama, you can actually tell someone. You could send this quote directly to your husband, to your best friend, bring it to your therapy appointment, or you could share it in a support group where other moms understand what you're talking about. Because sometimes the people who love us really do want to support us. They just don't know how. And giving them the words can help. Now, the third quote is one I wish every mama struggling with postpartum depression will put somewhere she can see it. Struggling postpartum does not make me a bad mother. I'm going to say it again. Struggling postpartum does not make me a bad mother. I fought with this one for so long. Because if postpartum depression had a favorite lie, I think this would be one of them. You're a bad mom. Good moms don't feel this way. You should be happier. You should be enjoying this. You should be grateful. Mama, that comes directly from my phone notes during the time I was struggling. And those thoughts can be absolutely brutal. Because you can take every difficult emotion you're experiencing and somehow turn it into evidence against yourself. You're crying? I'm a bad mom. You're anxious? I'm a bad mom. You're having a hard time bonding with your baby? I'm a bad mom. You desperately need a break? I'm selfish. But postpartum depression doesn't mean you're a bad mother. And needing help doesn't mean you're a bad mother. Being exhausted doesn't mean you're a bad mother. Struggling doesn't mean you're a bad mother. You are a mother who is struggling, and those are two very different things. Sometimes the person who needs to hear that the most is you. So don't just send this one to somebody else. Put it somewhere you will see it. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your bathroom mirror. That's what I did, and it's moved houses with me, and it's still there. Make it your phone wallpaper. Put it in your journal. Stick it on your refrigerator because you may need to read it more than once. You may need to read it on the days when you're crying. You may need to read it after you've lost your patience. You may need to read it when you're sitting in the car wondering if you're ever going to feel like yourself again. And you can remind yourself, I'm struggling, but I'm still a good mom. The fourth quote is one that I think is especially important because postpartum depression can make you feel like you're never going to get better. Here it is. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens one small step at a time. I know that when you're really in it, you want to feel better now. You don't want to hear that healing takes time. I didn't. You want to wake up tomorrow and feel like Stephanie or whoever you were before postpartum depression showed up. You want to laugh again. You want to enjoy your baby. You want to stop feeling anxious. You want to sleep. You want to feel normal. And sometimes you can get discouraged because you don't see a huge difference from one day to the next. But healing isn't always dramatic, and it's often not. Sometimes healing looks incredibly ordinary. Maybe you finally take a shower after a few really difficult days. Maybe you simply text your friend back. You go for a walk, you make that therapy appointment you've been putting off, or you tell your husband, hey, I actually need some help tonight. Maybe you sleep an extra hour. Maybe you have one afternoon where you realize, hey, I actually enjoyed that. And those things count, Mama. They count even when they feel tiny. So save this quote somewhere, put it in your planner, keep it on your bedside table, share it with your mom's group. Put it somewhere you can find it on the days when you're tempted to think, I'm not getting better. Because sometimes you are getting better. You just can't see the whole picture yet. Looking back, that's something I wish I had known. And then there's our fifth and final quote, and this one may be my favorite. You were never meant to carry postpartum alone. Because postpartum depression loves isolation. I've said it before and I will continue saying it again. It tells you that nobody will understand, that you're the only one, that you should keep it to yourself, that asking for help means you're weak. And those lies can get really loud when you're exhausted and overwhelmed. But Mama, you were never meant to do this alone. Motherhood was never designed to be one woman in a house with a baby trying to figure everything out by herself. We need people. We need support. We need community. Sometimes that looks like a therapist. Sometimes it's a medication. Sometimes it's your husband, your mom, your church, another mama who's been there, or a support group. And often it takes a combination of all of those things. But you deserve people around you who know what's going on. You don't have to tell everyone. Some people just aren't in the right spot to hear it. And you don't have to post your deepest struggles on social media. In fact, I wouldn't do that. You don't have to explain yourself to people who don't feel safe to explain yourself to. But you do deserve and need to tell someone. And if you've been meaning to reach out to another mom, maybe this is your sign. Send her the quote, send her a text. Say, hey, I know we've talked about motherhood before, but I've actually been having a really hard time. Could we talk? Because sometimes one honest conversation can be the beginning of finding the support you've been missing. And Mama, before we wrap up, I want you to remember something. These quotes aren't magic. No quote, no mantra is. They're not going to cure postpartum depression, and they're not a replacement for real support or professional treatment. But they can do something really important. They can start a conversation. They can help you say something when you don't have the words. They can remind you of something you desperately need to remember. So let's go back through them one more time. Number 1, I may look okay on the outside, but I'm carrying more than you can see. Maybe that's one you need to send to someone who loves you. Number 2, I don't need someone to fix me. I need someone to sit with me. Maybe that's the one you need to send to your husband. Hint, hint, that's what I did. Number 3, struggling postpartum does not make me a bad mother. Maybe that's the one you need to put on your bathroom mirror so you can see it yourself. Number 4, healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens one small step at a time. Maybe that's the one you need to keep beside your bed. And finally, number 5, you were never meant to carry postpartum alone. Maybe that's the one you need to act on. Because, Mama, if you've been feeling misunderstood or unsupported, I want you to hear me. You are not asking for too much by wanting someone to understand. You are not weak because you need encouragement. And you are certainly not failing because postpartum feels harder than you expected. Sometimes when we don't know how to explain our pain, someone else's words can help us feel seen. It happens to me all the time on social media. But even more importantly, I hope today's episode reminds you that there are people who want to walk through this season with you. People who won't judge you. People who won't minimize your struggle. People who truly understand. And if you don't have those people in your life yet, please keep looking. Keep reaching out. Keep speaking up, because you deserve support too. There is hope, and I am living proof of that. Mama, don't forget to come join us in our private Facebook group at bit.ly/PPD support group. Don't forget the PPD is capitalized. If this episode is triggering for you and you feel you need additional help to process your thoughts or feelings, please call or text the Postpartum Support International hotline at 1-800-944-4773 or visit them online at postpartum.net. And if you are ever in immediate danger or believe you may act on thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, call 911 or go to your nearest emergency room right away.
Hi, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of my mom's show.
If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a mom friend who may be struggling to feel like herself and is in need of some encouragement today?
Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It blesses my mom's heart to know this podcast is helping you.
Okay, time to go change a diaper and do the school run. I'll meet you back in a few days for another episode.
Take care.